Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Everyday prices are too high. Food, rent, gas, back to school clothes. That is called Bidenomics. A loaf of bread cost 50% more today. Ground beef is up almost 50%. There's not much left at the end of the month. Bidenomics is working. The price of housing has gone up. It feels so hard to just be able to get ahead. And we are very proud of Bidenomics.
There goes Kamala Harris giving the Trump campaign some great ammunition as she touts Bidenomics while at the same time talking about the high increase in cost of living. But is history against Kamala Harris? Let's check this out from PJ Media. This is a very good article. I'm going to read this for you. It says, it is relevant that a sitting vice president has won the presidency only once in 188 years. Many vice presidents have gone on to win the presidency, but only after they left office. Only George H.W. Bush in 1988 was able to win the presidency running as a vice president. Before Bush, the last sitting vice president to win was Martin Van Buren in 1836. Why is that? Let's keep going. Other sitting VPs have became president, were elevated to office after the death of the president. Recently, Al Gore and Richard Nixon ran for the top spot while serving as VP. Both men went down in defeat, although Nixon won 8 years later. Why can't VPs win in their own right? This is a great point. The answer is relatively simple. Most voters don't want a third term of whichever incumbent is sitting in the White House at the time. Most voters wanted a third term of Ronald Reagan in 1988. When George Bush didn't deliver it, he was kicked out of office. In 1836, voters wanted more of Andrew Jackson and elected Van Buren, if I'm saying that correctly, as a stand-in. He too lost in his re-election bid. I think that's a great point. Most people don't want a third term of Bidenomics, as you just saw in the video I showed you, how Bidenomics is working so well for Americans. For Kamala Harris, all the joy in the world won't make voters forget who was president while she was vice president. Bush succeeded. Where the other modern vice presidents failed for one simple reason: Americans wanted a third Reagan term. Today, no one wants another Biden term. When Reagan left office, he had a 63% approval rating, and Biden has a 57% disapproval rating. That's a great point, because you look who's in office. People can see that most people should know that Kamala Harris is the second in charge. She's number 2. And she signed off on all these policies for Biden, touting Bidenomics and all these other things that he's done in office. She is the quote border czar. She's taken on that role. Maybe not the exact title given to her, but description of what she was given. Yeah, she is the border czar. Keep going. When Bush ran in 1988, it was still morning in America. The economy was growing and inflation was finally under control. Well, it's not morning in America today. Americans are still struggling under the weight of the historic inflation that Biden-Harris unleashed, as well as skyrocketing interest rates. 6 in 10 are racking up record credit card debt just to pay for groceries and other necessities. In 1988, the world was at peace. Russian troops were withdrawing from Afghanistan. The Berlin Wall was soon to fall, and the Soviet Union would peacefully collapse not long after. Today, the world is on fire, with wars raging on 2 continents and Iranian-backed proxies attacking U.S. troops with impunity in Iraq, Syria, and the Red Sea. All the magic tricks in the world can hide the dismal state of affairs in the U.S. and the world at large. This is the record that Harris must run on. Falling inflation isn't going to make people forget the 9% inflation in 2022. The Fed cutting interest rates in September isn't going to help homeowners who have been saddled with high mortgage payments after the biggest increase in interest rates in 40 years. Harris has been running away from the failed border policies of the administration, which only meant an about-face on border security when it became clear that the crisis of 8 million illegal aliens pouring to the United States unchecked would sink the Democrats in 2024. Look, squirrel is not going to make people forget that signature failure. Harris is bending over backward to deny that she was ever the administration's border czar. which is an administration that Biden's border policy is an unmitigated disaster. If it were a success, she'd be wearing the border czar title as a badge of honor, which is absolutely true. If we had not had 8 million illegal aliens or more come across the border, if the border was secure, if we only had like 500,000 illegal aliens coming across the border in these last 4 years, then she'd be touting this as a success. But no, she wants to blame Trump for her failures. If she wants to distinguish herself from the border failures, she has to explain what she would have done differently. And the truth is, her border policies are in fact more radical than Biden's. In 2019, she promised to decriminalize border crossings and provide taxpayer-funded health care for illegal aliens, which would have created an even more powerful incentive for illegal entry. Harris has been trying to flip the script and make voters think that Trump is the incumbent and she's the new fresh face. No, Trump has been out of office since January 20th, 2021. She's been the VP since then. And things have gotten much worse as the years have gone on. Since Trump is going to have to nail Harris to Biden's policies, it's not that complicated. What Trump needs is discipline, a message discipline, something that he has really demonstrated as a candidate. But look, it's very simple. And Trump has been, in like these ads that I just played, there are some more ads as well, tying her to the border policies and the Bidenomics disaster it's been. But it's very simple, and it's exactly what Greg Abbott did in his re-election campaign against Beto Jumpin' Jack Flap O'Rourke. He tied Beto to Biden's border failure. He said, if you vote for Beto, you're going to get more of this, because he is the exact same as Biden as far as policies. That's basically what he did, and it worked very well. He kept hammering Beto on the border issue, hammering Biden, putting the two together, tying them together, and Beto got clobbered again. So I'm glad we don't have to see that clown anymore for a while. Hopefully never again. But I think this is a great article. It's a great point. People don't want more of Bidenomics. They don't want more of this border disaster. If things were rosy and peachy, if it was morning in America and everything were fine, then yes, Harris would have a chance. But great point. George H.W. Bush was not Ronald Reagan. He did not provide the same prosperity as Reagan did. And that's why he got kicked out of office. So that's why he won, is because he was riding the wave of Ronald Reagan. You know, the Reagan, the revolution, cutting taxes. You know, that was a great thing for the country. But I think a lot of people felt the same way about Hillary Clinton, that it would have been a third term of Barack Obama, and they wanted different. So we'll see what happens in November. And this is a great point. Trump has a very good shot because people know how great things were economically, and as far as peace around the world, it was much better. Inflation was much lower across the board. Gas prices, groceries. Inflation was just not as high as it is now. Wages were increasing. They were actually outpacing inflation, and everything is booming. They want more of that, and people see what their pocketbooks look like. I'll get to more of that in an upcoming video of how people are living now versus back then, and it's a stark contrast. Yeah, but I'm going to leave it right there. Like and subscribe. See you next time. Thank you. Take care.